Yes, the air was smoky still, and it smelled of blood and death, and so they showed up and they came in. We acted like everything was normal.
Hold on, try that again.
We acted like everything was normal.
You acted like everything was normal?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Just, you know, hey, how's it going? Come in, get set up. Scott put some juice in the fridge. Erica sat down and took off her shoes, I guess.
Hold on. Scott put some juice in the fridge, and Erica
took off her shoes, I guess.
Okay.
I was with Scott.
Okay.
So I don't really know that full story, but I suppose she did at that point because she obviously showed up with shoes on.
Had there been some conversation with Michelle about this is what we're going to do when they show up?
No, she just said, "Trust me, don't worry about it. I've got it. I've got it under control."
Was there some plan to separate them or anything like that?
There was no real planning at all in any of this.
Okay. Well, there was some planning. I mean, you brought a decoy present up there in the first place, right?
That wasn't really in the planning. That's more in the way of improv. Because, okay, so we're going up there. Well, we should bring something along. So I thought, okay, we're going up there to wrap presents. We should bring something. So I grabbed a box.
So that's not planning. That's improv.
It's more of improv, yeah.
But I mean, it was goal directed, right? The idea was to make it seem normal, right?
Yes.
Isn't that planning?
Planning,
Isn't that planning?
It is to an extent.
Okay.
I would say that planning is more of, like
Joe?
setting out a plan. Anyway, I don't mean to be splitting hairs.
Thank you.
Close enough. I don't mean to be splitting hairs. Planning. Okay, cool. That's your definition of planning. Okay, cool. That's your definition of planning. Then it's planning. Okay.
Let's talk about what happened then. Scott put some juice in the fridge. Erica took her shoes off, and what happened
she was
next?
She was sitting on the chair.
Hold on.
She was sitting on the.
Who was sitting on
Erica
what
was
chair?
sitting.
Hold. I need one question and one answer.
The question is who was sitting on what chair? And if I may, Ms. Morales, may we bring up the living room floor plan? Exhibit 13, I think. My memory serves.
I'm sorry. Do you want the full house floor plan or just the living room?
Just the living room, please. I think it's also in Exhibit 52. Okay, so
Yeah, I didn't mean to say chair. What I meant to say was sofa. Okay, and I was trying to correct myself.
okay, so let's differentiate
The one
sofa.
on the what is it? If north is up, then west would be the left side. So she was off on the west sofa.
Okay, and that's
The love seat. The love seat, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Erica's sitting on the love seat.
Yes.
The left cushion or the right cushion?
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I think. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I think.
And where is Scott?
Scott is after he comes back from the kitchen, he sits down right on the. I sit down on the chair right beside the recliner beside the side of the couch.
Okay, so you sit on the recliner.
Yes.
Scott sits on the sofa facing north on the far right cushion.
Yes.
Okay. And where are the kids at this point?
They are to either side of Erica.
Okay. And what happened next?
Okay. I don't remember if Michelle had been talking with Erica prior. So I sat down and asked us like, so how's work been? How have things been? And so he starts talking about the project that he was working on, which he starts talking about the project that he was working on because he was following a project on doing that would be under a park, some
Underground.
reservoir.
Okay.
That would be under a park somewhere.
Okay. And what happened next?
So Michelle, I don't remember if she ever actually sat down. She was still standing,
Where was she standing?
She was standing, if you could bring that back up, she was standing on the opposite side of the of the coffee table from the couch.
Okay, between the coffee table and the blanket rack?
Yes.
Okay.
And up to that point, she had the revolver hidden in her sweatshirt. And so so Scott and I were talking, and I think Erica might be saying something too. I don't particularly recall. And so she said, "Where's my money?" Looks at Scott like, "Where's my money?"
Hold on. Michelle said that to Scott?
Yes.
Okay, and how is she holding the gun?
She's holding the gun.
Hold on, the gun in the sweatshirt?
Yes.
She's holding the sweat. I don't remember if her hand was in the sweatshirt, but the sweatshirt was folded over the weapon, and I can't remember if she was holding it semi-vertical or horizontal.
Okay.
I don't recall actually.
Okay.
I was watching Scott at that point, I think.
And she said to Scott, "Where's my money?"
Where's my money?
And what happened
And
next?
he got a very upset look. I think, at the time, I thought that it was a sort of, I know where your money is, but I know what you're talking about, but you're not getting it, so screw it off, right? In retrospect, I think that really it was kind of this again, because she had gotten into a habit of apparently every time that she was seeing this guy bringing that up.
So what happened next?
So he said he got a look of, that I just described, and said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about." And so she drops the sweatshirt, and she's got the gun, and she starts firing on Scott. Scott at the same time goes, and he gets up and starts charging around the table and up to where she's at.
Okay, now let me stop you for a second.
Yes.
Do you know where the first bullet hit Scott? Do you know from your memory?
You mean where on him, or where?
Yes, that's correct.
I believe it was the one that hit under his chin.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the way Ross Gardner described it, he surmised from the angle of the bullet that perhaps Scott was sitting down and had charged like a football player.
That's what I would say was happening, yes.
He was correct about that?
That's my belief, yes.
Okay. What happened next?
I'm not certain if that's when it hit, but that's what I think.
Okay.
So, she fired a couple of times, and the last one, right as Scott was impacting her, basically, right? So she fired, and I think that this is the one that entered into his abdominal wall. And as she fired, and as she was, as he came on her, she twisted around and dropped down. May I show?
Just describe
Okay.
it, Joe. Why don't you stay where you are?
Okay.
You just
She
describe it.
twisted around, brought the gun in up against her stomach, and dropped down to the floor with the cradled around the gun, wrapped around the gun.
Okay, so Michelle, and was she down like kneeling on the floor?
No.
Was she just squatted down?
She was down completely on the floor with her legs drawn up against her chest and the gun pressed against her chest.
So was she kneeling?
No, she was down completely on the floor.
When you
Her
say-
rear was on the floor.
Her what?
Rear.
Her rear, like sitting on the floor?
Yes, her legs were drawn up against her chest.
I see. So her bottom was on the floor?
Yes.
I see. And she had the gun, you said, against her chest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what happened next?
Okay, and so Scott was, he wrapped around, so as he come against her, he'd wrapped around her, and I don't know if he was trying to get the gun away from her or what, but he had, so he come down and he was right over her. He was kneeling. He was on one knee, his left knee, I think, and his arms were around her, and his head was down. I start freaking out, and I get on his back, and I try and wrap my arms around him and pull him off, and
Hold on, Joe. So where is Scott in relation to Michelle? Is he in front of her or behind her? Michelle, is he in front of her or behind her?
he's right behind her.
He's behind her,
Yes, he's right behind her.
and he's got his arms
Yes.
wrapped around her,
Yes.
and she's on the floor,
Yes.
and he's on one knee,
Yes.
and then you tried to get him off?
I think I might have tried to go off and get the gun from her first, but for some reason she wasn't letting go of it. So
You tried to get the gun from
I
her?
actually tried to reach around and try to get the gun from her, right? You know, and so that wasn't working. So I tried to put my arms around Scott and try to pull him off, right?
You're behind Scott?
I'm behind Scott, and I try to pull him off. At this point, we're up at, you see the easternmost window up at top, and the little green dot right about it under it, but at center.
Let me interrupt you. There's green dots all over the place. Ross Gardner described that there was blood on the curtains and window.
Yeah, they were right in front of that.
Okay, so that's right about where this was happening. Is that
That's right where it was happening, yeah,
Okay.
right in front of it.
What happened next?
So I tried to pull him off. As I wrapped my arms around him, my finger actually went into the hole at his throat, and I'm just like, that was bad. And so I tried to pull him off, and I couldn't pull him off because he was just too big. And so I'm like, okay, so where's the gun?
Did you say that out loud?
Yes. I was asking Shell, and it was on the counter, on the table beside Dad's bed. That's how she put it. I don't have the right to call him that anymore. I went back and found another gun there, and it's like, look, this isn't the gun I was talking about. This is...
You saw a gun in the bedroom,
Yes.
but you didn't take it.
That wasn't our gun, no.
Okay.
So I went back and told her, this is 30. I told her, it's like, look, that's the 32 I was looking for. That's the 32 I was looking for, the other one.
That's the what?
The 32. He just took a hit from a 357, and you just shot him a 357. A 32 is not going to help at all. The 357, 32 is not going to help at all.
And
So,
you said that to Detective Pavlovich too, right?
yes.
And that actually happened, right?
Yes.
You weren't lying to Detective Pavlovich.
No.
You said that? Okay.
No.
Okay. And
So I asked her where where was our gun, you know? I might have said either our gun or the 9, and she said it was in the, she described which one of the kitchen cabinets it was in. It was in the one closest to the end. Well,
it's okay. I don't think we need to know exactly.
anyway, it was in one of the kitchen cabinets. I went and got it, went back and saw, okay, there's a bullet sticking halfway out of the chamber. That must be why it's not working. So I pulled it out.
That after chamber, what did you say?
There was a bullet sticking halfway out of the chamber. That must be what's wrong with it. So I pulled the bullet out and pulled the bullet out, cocked it back, set it against his head.
Set it against whose head?
Scott's. And I looked up, and I guess the gun tracked when I looked up, because when I fired, I saw it hit the TV.
So you tried to hit Scott.
Yes.
You tried to kill him
Yes.
by firing the 9.
At the side.
But you missed him.
Yes. And he fell. I thought I hit him. It's only the fact that he wasn't hit inside that tells me that he wasn't hit.
Okay.
He fell back, and like he was in those pictures, and he didn't move again. And what?
Go ahead. Continue, please.
And so I had the 9mm at this point, and I'm not quite sure what happened next.
Let me stop you for a second, Joe. You say you saw the bullet hit the TV when you
Yes.
fired the 9?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't see the bullet hit the TV. I saw the TV crack when I fired the 9.
Okay, but the Rick Wyant from the
I don't know.
ballistics lab said that was a 45, or excuse me, a 357 in the TV.
I was not firing the 357. I don't know.
Okay, but you weren't firing the 357.
No, I was not.
Okay, and while this was going on with Scott and Michelle and you, what were Erica and the kids doing?
I don't I don't know.
They were still right there, though, right?
Yeah, I think Olivia might have been screaming. I think Erica had gotten over and maybe gotten on the phone at this point. I don't remember. I don't remember clearly. I'm sorry. There's a couple holes throughout this. I'm sorry. So let's see.
So what happened next?
I'm trying to remember.
I understand.
Yeah. So I think this might, like I said, I think this might be the point where Erica got on the phone and called the police. I remember, I'm not sure if it happened at this point or in a little bit, but it probably happened at this point. So I went over and saw she was on the phone. I took the phone from her and saw what she had called and tried through, and it's like, okay, how do you hang this thing up? It had so many buttons on it, and none of them was an off button, so I just pulled out the battery and threw it aside. And then
When you did you listen on the phone? Did you know it was a 911 call?
Yes.
Okay.
It said it on the phone.
You heard them say
It said it on the phone, actually.
it was coming up on a caller ID?
Yes. Well, not on caller ID. There's a little screen on the phone that shows what numbers you'd called. What numbers you had
Would you
dialed.
repeat that, please?
There's a little screen on the phone that shows what numbers you dialed.
Okay. And did you hear the operator say anything?
I heard her say hello, so, yeah.
I heard what?
I heard a hello, so.
Okay. And do you know whether Erica or the kids had been shot at this point?
At this point, I do not believe so, no.
Okay. So what is Michelle doing while you're going over and taking the
I
phone?
don't know.
You gotta let me finish. While
Yes.
you're going over and taking the phone from Erica, what is Michelle doing?
I do not know.
Okay. So after you threw the batteries aside, what happened next?
Okay, then Erica went back over to where she was previously. And let's see, did I reload the gun at this point? I think I reloaded. I'm hazy here again. I think I reloaded the gun, but I'm not sure. I know.
Why not, Joe, at this point, why not, again, would be a good, right?
I thought we were too far for that. I'm sorry.
You thought you were too far for that? I mean,
Yeah.
was there any discussion of it? Did you turn to Michelle and say, let's stop here?
As far as I was concerned, if Scott had showed up with, as far as I knew, if Scott had showed up and said, "Oh yeah, here's your money," they would have been leaving it. Look, she had stripped away everything that could resist her. Okay, she'd spent years doing this. She stripped away everything that. So it's just, okay. All that was left was obedience. I know that's not very. I'm not trying to go and say it's okay. I'm not trying to go off and give this as an excuse. I'm just trying to explain. Well,
Okay. So you don't know if you reloaded at that point. You testified that 2 shots had been fired from the .357.
at least 2.
What was the next shot fired?
The-
Who fired it?
The next shot, if I remember correctly, and I'm not sure I do, but the next shot, if I remember correctly, was Michelle going over and firing on Erica. And she fired several times.
Where was Erica?
She was over at the couch.
Hold on. The couch or the love seat?
The love seat, sorry.
Okay. And where
She
the
was exactly where you found them. Everybody at this point was exactly where they were left.
kids? Was Erica running away in fear?
No, she was not. No. She was with home.
What was she doing?
I don't remember exactly what she was doing. She had her arms out in front of her son
Was she trying
and
to
daughter.
protect her kids, Joe?
She was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Michelle shot several times. Do you know who was hit?
At this point, I believe both Erica and Olivia were hit at that
Did
point.
you know at the time that Olivia had
I had absolutely no idea that Olivia had been hit. I had no idea that Olivia had been hit. I thought that she had just hit Erica.
Okay, so when you just say, at this point, I think Erica and Olivia had been hit,
Yeah, that's what I mean at this point in time.
that's when, but your knowledge that Olivia had been hit comes from
What I saw. Yes,
from
yes.
looking at the evidence.
Yeah.
At the time, did you realize Olivia had been hit in the torso?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, what
I
happened
really
next?
didn't know. So I reloaded. There was only 3 bullets. I reloaded the 357. There was only 3 bullets left. Again, why didn't I just give her the 9mm? I didn't trust it. Okay,
Why didn't you trust
it.
You didn't trust the 9mm?
Right, because it already jammed once.
Okay.
So I reloaded, and I only had 3 bullets, I think. And so I gave her that. It's like, look, it's, you know.
Do you have a clear memory that it was 3 bullets?
I'm pretty sure it was just 3 bullets.
Okay, I mean...
The reason I'm pretty sure about that is it's like, look, is that going to be enough? Look, you know, is that going to be enough? You know, you think you can still, is that going to be enough? And she's like, yeah, no problem.
So
And
you
then
had that
she,
conversation with her?
well, yes. So she filed in, so she, at this point, Erica had asked her. At this point, Michelle was standing between the coffee table and the recliner, if I'm not mistaken.
Michelle was?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was standing off to her right, I suppose.
So are you between the coffee table and the blanket rack?
A little bit east of the blanket rack.
A little, okay. A
Yes.
little bit to the right of the photo?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes. So
Erica said what?
Erica said, and you know, she was looking at Michelle, like, why are you doing this? And Michelle said, because you hate me. You always hated me. She was so angry. She was so furious. And Erica's like, no, we love you. You know, she was being really reasonable, really nice. And it's just, you know, you don't.
And you didn't stop at that point?
No, I wasn't standing right there. I wasn't standing there. I was standing over in front of the TV.
Okay. And so after Erica said that, what happened next?
So I'm just standing there look, I didn't want this to happen. I'm standing there wanting just this to get the hell out of there and get this to end. Okay, I just want to go. Okay, all I wanted was to get out of there. Was for this to end. Was for this to stop. Not necessarily for them to die. I just wanted it to end. Okay, and I'm thinking, you know, I honestly thought that I just want to get out of there. Right. That's all I was thinking. I'm standing over by the other side, right?
By the other side?
But over by the other side of the couch, by the TV, between the TV and the coffee table.
Okay.
So.
What happened next?
So she, Erica says, no, we love you. You don't have, and she said, God, what is it? No, we love you. You don't have to do this. And that just, you know, it struck as how she had said, Michelle had been saying time and time again, I have to do this, I have to do this. You don't understand, I have to do this. And so, you know, I'm sitting here just panicked and, you know, just grasped the one thing that made any sense at that point.
And what was that?
Yeah, I do have to do this. So I said, yeah, I do. And so I'm sorry, Erica. I shot her first so that she wouldn't have to watch her children die. And then I shot Nathan because he was closer. And then I shot Olivia because I thought that otherwise that things would be worse for them if I didn't.
Otherwise, what?
No, I thought I want us to leave. I want us to get out. I want us to get away from there. And I thought that we couldn't do it if they were still alive. So afterwards, I stood there for maybe a minute, trying to decide if I should just kill myself or not. Trying to come up with a good actually, let me amend that. Trying to come up with a good reason not to kill myself. And the only reason was that I wasn't done yet. Done what? I couldn't have told you at that time. Sure as hell wasn't killing. It sure as hell wasn't killing.
I'm sorry, I can't believe it.
Done what? Done what? I don't know time, but it sure as hell was not killing. So instead I told...
Did you think about just shooting Michelle at that point too, maybe?
Absolutely not, no.
Joe, before you killed Erica and Nathan and Olivia, had Michelle, you had put 3 more bullets in that .357. You know if she fired them?
Yes, she did. She fired them at Erica.
Okay.
Which is what left me in a position. In fact, I think she fired them at Erica, and then Erica said, "Why are you doing this?" So, no, I don't think I reloaded before giving. Yeah, I don't think I reloaded between Scott and the first couple of times that Erica was shot.
Had you suicide or threatened suicide before?
Yes.
And what was the result of that?
She said, basically it came down to 2 things. One is that she needed my protection because she was this fat little girl that nobody takes seriously and everybody looks at like fat little girl that nobody takes seriously and everybody looks at like a target. And that part of the reason that she is like that is because of me. So because I keep her stressed out all the time, and because I make things so difficult for her. And I did everything that I could to make things good for her, and it just wasn't enough. So
when you had that conversation with suicide, was there any...
So it was my obligation to make sure that she was protected, because it was my fault that she was in the position where she needed protection.
You just testified that after you killed these people, you just shot these children right down in front of you and Erica. You stood there for a minute thinking why you shouldn't kill yourself.
Yes.
And thought...
She didn't need my protection. Because she was saying, okay, she made it clear that, okay, once this was done, she wouldn't need my protection anymore. Right? So
did you feel like released from that?
And fuck's sake, I'm not... I didn't want these people to die, and it's just like...
And yet you caused it.
And yet I caused it, exactly. So what am I supposed to do, I really wanted to die, but it's like, okay, I'm not done yet. There's still something I have to do, so I didn't.
So what did you do?
So instead I turned to her and said...
You what?
Instead I turned to her and said, okay, let's get out of here. So
Did you search the bodies before you left?
No, we got out of there as quickly as possible. That's all I was focused on, just getting out of there.
Okay.
At this point, I was running in kind of a stripped down mode that was just thinking, okay, we need to get out of here now. So
you spoke before. You said that there was. I think you said that as you killed Wayne, part of you broke off.
Yeah. It's like.
Hold on. Still asking a question.
Okay, sorry.
You described void.
Yeah.
And you described other.
Yeah.
Right? Please talk into the microphone.
I wasn't saying anything.
It's okay. What's void's function?
Void's function is handling things when it's too much, okay? Like, for example, when we were... After they died,
After who died?
After Olivia died.
After what?
After Olivia died, and I'm standing there, and in a way, I was kind of off to the side. Part of my mind was just like, look, I'm done with this shit. Fuck this. Okay? I cannot handle any more of this. I'm done. Okay? And yet, you still keep going. That part that still keeps going, that's void.
That's void.
That's void.
But void is part of you.
Yep.
So describe it. You just described the feeling, I guess, like in two parts or something?
It's a feeling like taking a bow, and sometimes, you know how things feel, I don't know if you get this or not, maybe sometimes when you get like really drunk or whatever, or like maybe intoxicated or something, how things seem like really kind of distant, like your body is doing something and you're just kind of like watching what's going on, like not like it's not involved, but it's like in a way almost like watching a movie, you know, and you're more of a spectator than you are an actor in it, but you're an actor at the same time. It's hard to describe, but that's what it was like. And
go ahead, sorry.
And actually that happens kind of a lot.
That happens a lot to you?
Now it does, yeah.
Did it happen before you killed the Andersons?
Not as much.
But it did happen?
Mm-hmm. When things were really, you know, when things were really bad, or when I was really stressed out, yeah.
Okay. Does
So,
it happen since the murders?
Yeah. Yeah, it happens a lot more now, actually.
Okay.
Especially when I'm, like, really stressed out.
Especially when you're really stressed out?
When there's, like, a lot of noise, or when I'm really stressed out, yeah.
When there's a lot of noise, are you talking about noise in the room or something?
No, the noise in my head where it's like, well, it's, there's a screaming in my head of murder and you kill you. Try not to use expletives here, I'm sorry. Images, memories, seeing everybody die, remembering what I did, how worthless it is, how worthless I am because I killed all these people. They deserve to die. They deserve to live a lot more than I did, but they did. They deserve to live a lot more than I did, but they. If it had been down to just a choice of me or them, it would have been easy, but no, it wasn't. So
Joe, I'm going to ask you some more questions here.
So at one point it was like a break off. It's just the strain. It's like taking, it's like trying to go off and like pull something with a rubber band or a string or something, and eventually the string gets too much and it just snaps. That's why I refer to void as being somewhat separate.
You refer to void as being somewhat...
That's why I refer to void as being somewhat separate.
Okay. So you said,
Not totally.
everybody's dead. You said we have to get out of here. What did you
At this
do
point,
next?
I'm pretty much.
Joe, slow down.
I'm pretty much.
Joe, slow down, please, and use the microphone.
Sorry. So at this point, it's basically void, and I'm just like, okay, we need to get out of here now. So we get out of there, and we're driving. We get down to the gate, and I'm like, we get going, and Michelle wants to go and like close the gate. I'm just like, screw the.
What was going on?
We get going, and Michelle wants to close the gate. I'm like, fuck the gate. Sorry, screw the gate. You know.
But that's not what you said. You used the F word. Is that
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah. I'm trying.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't.
I want the facts, Joe, of what happened.
Okay, sorry. I don't know if I actually said it like that, but I think
the F word is the least of our problems.
it's only the least insulting thing, huh? It's only the least insulting thing, huh? Sorry. So we, so I'm like, fuck the gate.
I didn't hear you.
So I'm like, fuck the gate. And we get going at, well, like maybe a blocks down that are really big because there's not a lot of properties and stuff. So we get half a block down, and she decides she wants the gate closed. So we go back, and I close and lock the gate, and we get back and we get going again. After a little bit of driving, I see a cop car groove by,
You see a cop car.
groove by in the direction that we were
By?
coming. Yeah,
Is
groove.
that an expression that you use?
Yeah, I meant, just drive by.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a 2-lane road there on the other
Okay.
side going the other direction. So, at some point, in fact, even before we got into to the gate, she's like, okay, now we go to Scott's house and get the call. I'm like, fuck the call.
Do you want to go get the
Fuck the
fireworks?
fireball. I'm just like shocked that you can even think about that at this point. I'm like, what are you talking about? We need to get the hell out of here. Fuck that thing. As far as I was concerned, to hell with that call in general, because as far as I could tell, a lot of our problems should be drawn back to that damn thing.
Okay.
So
you saw the police car go by, and what happened next?
So, my memories get really patchy for a while. We went to I was, going to. I was, going to. We go to a number of different places looking for, actually, first we were going up to Canada, right? She's like, okay, where are we going? And I'm like, Canada, right? You said that guy with the, she had heard a case where some guy had, like, a bloody chainsaw and a bunch of knives in the back of his truck, and he'd driven up to Canada, and nobody had stopped him. So I was like, okay, fine, let's go up to Canada, right? And as we're driving, at some point, maybe half an hour later, I asked her, I was like, whatever happened to that guy anyway? They caught him and brought him back. Somehow or another, we ended up way the hell off to the east. I don't even know how. I don't remember, and it's not like I really drive anyway, so I couldn't.
How did you guys know you were in the wrong place?
I remember thinking that Canada's really far away, and also, I think we drove by Monroe, at which point I'm like, is it Monroe East? By the time we passed Gold Bar, it's like, or Sultan, something like that. It's like, okay, we're definitely in the wrong area. So we pulled over and asked for directions. The guy's like, go buy a map. So I bought a map, and looked at that thing, and we were way off. And it's like, okay. So we turned around and went back, and we were surprised that.
Keep your voice up.
And we were surprised that nothing had happened. We ended up getting back though.
Hold on a second, Joe. Did you go back property at this point?
Yes.
Well, wait a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
There was testimony that you guys had gone further north because you threw away the guns, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do that at this point?
I was going to say I don't know if we threw away the guns at this point, or.
Why don't you just describe throwing away the guns and how you managed to
Okay.
get in that position?
Okay.
After you got the map in Gold Bar, what happened next?
Okay. So, I don't remember exactly at which point the conversations about the guns came up, but I wanted to get rid of them. I just wanted to get rid of them immediately, and I didn't want to be pushed into a position where I wanted to get rid of them.
Wait a second. You didn't want to be pushed into
A position
where what?
Well, it might come to using those again, and I just wanted to get rid of them.
What were you guys talking about the fact that you had just killed these 6 innocent people at all? Did that come up?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, as we're driving away, I'm like, look, this was completely unnecessary. You realize that these people, if they were whatever other things about them, this was just, I don't think we really were in any danger. These weren't mean people, these weren't bad people. They didn't deserve this. And she's like, yeah, you're right, I should have listened to you, pointing out that maybe they were kind of selfish, maybe they didn't go off and put looking out for their kids before looking out for you. I mean, really, is it that bad of a deal? Really? Wouldn't you do the same thing? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake,
Well, Was there any conversation about, I mean, realizing that this was unnecessary? Hey, maybe we should turn ourselves in?
You know, there probably should have been, but there wasn't. No.
Okay.
No.
So, how did you get to where you were how did the throwing away of the guns happen?
Okay. So, we, I just want to know that that was the one time that I really talked back to him, that I was like, look, this was really unnecessary. This was really crap. And I don't remember exactly how the getting rid of the guns came about, or what time frame exactly. I'm sorry, there's a lot of holes, okay?
There was a lot of what?
There's a lot of holes.
A lot of holes, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
My self was kind of gone at this point. That kind of checked out in a way. We're going to all these different places, like stopping at a gas station and thinking of, okay, let's dump this here. I dump it, and then she's like, okay, that's not good enough. And so then we drive over to a park and drop it in a trash can there, and then I get back, and she's like, no, that's not good enough either. So I end up going back out and getting at that.
So this is the guns you're talking about here?
Yes.
You put them in a
Yeah.
garbage can or something, and then you went and got them back out?
Yeah, and that happened a couple of times. Here, there's a bunch of blackberry bushes. We could just throw it in there, and it'll be lost.
There's a bunch of what?
Blackberry bushes on the side of the road. It'll be good and lost then. No, that's not good enough. So eventually, we were on the river that you saw, and there's a big river, and it's like, okay, look, this looked like a great place to get rid of it, because I just wanted them to be gone. I can't even say that I was thinking of getting rid of evidence. I just wanted them to be gone.
You can't even say that.
I just wanted them to be gone.
You can't even say that what?
That I was getting rid of evidence. It was more of, I just wanted them to be gone.
But you knew that this was a crime.
Yeah.
Right? A very
Yeah.
terrible and serious crime.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Any question in your mind about that at the time?
No. So, as we're driving across it, I don't remember which one of us pointed out that this would be a good place to do this, but she stopped just way down at the end of the bank, basically, and I had to run a good 200 yards back up the bridge and just threw it off the side there as hard as I could. Just get rid of them.
So what was in the bundle that you threw over the side?
What was in the bundle was the Magnum, the shell casings that I had in my pocket. In fact, I think I might have just left them in my pocket, because when I thrown them in, when I wrapped them all,
But when you wrapped them all up at what?
it was in the coat that I was wearing. So, whole gun in its case, and I think that's everything, actually. And the holster for the 357 was still in its holster.
357 was still in the holster.
Yeah, so I just took that and threw it as hard as I could to get rid of it.
Okay. If you could just take your hand away from
Sorry.
your mouth. Thank you.
Sorry.
And what did you do?
Sorry.
And what did you do after you discarded the guns? Where did you go?
After that, I think we went straight back.
Okay.
So.
And so about what time is it now? Still dark?
Yes.
And what did you do when you went back to the property?
Showered a couple of times. Did
you go back to Wayne and Judy's house or back to your house?
No, we went back to the lower property, actually.
Okay.
I smelled horrendously. Literally, I smelled like blood and death, and it took. I had the hardest time getting that out of my, getting rid of that.
Speak up.
I had the hardest time getting rid of that.
So you showered, you said, a couple times?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And I was so tired that I couldn't sleep, and she went right to sleep, and I tried to go to sleep beside her, and she's just like, "No, you're waking me up. You smell awful, right?" And so all this is just crashing in my mind. All this is just crashing around in my mind, and I'm trying to handle it, and I can't go to sleep because I can't go back into bed, and I'm like, I'd like some support, but she's went off to sleep. She's off doing her own thing.
So what did you do?
So I try to play a game to go and like bring myself down at all to make it
to bring yourself
to bring myself down at all, so I can so I'd have something so I would have something other than this awfulness in my head. And it was really difficult. I think I tried to play Simpsons for a little while, and couldn't because the characters reminded me of the people that I had just killed. And then I tried to play Lego Star Wars, which is like the most innocuous game ever.
Laser Storm?
Lego Star Wars. Star Wars. Yeah. Which is like the most innocuous game ever. I mean, literally, you're just running around as little Lego guys, right? And you blast the other guys, and they fly apart. And it's made for kids, really, And then
it's made for kids, really? Is that what you said?
It's made for kids, really, because I mean, it's like you really can't lose.
Okay.
So then I
play that or not?
I was, until I realized that they're like running around and like, using then I really, the fact that they were running around using little blast storms, kind of struck me, and then I couldn't play that anymore either. So I just stopped, and, I kept trying to do something, I kept trying to get my head together, but I just couldn't.
And again, any thoughts
So-
at this point of killing yourself?
At this point? No, at this point I was trying to figure out, okay, so what can I do?
How about calling the police? Did that come up in your head?
No. No.
Okay. So
At this point, the only thing that mattered was protecting her, so
did you get to sleep that night?
no. No, I don't believe so. I think I tried to sleep, but I couldn't.
Okay. So what happened next? What significant thing did Michelle? I guess Michelle must have woke up eventually, right?
Eventually, she woke up, and I'm like, okay, there's some stuff I want to go off and like do up at the.
I'm like, what?
There's some stuff I want to do at the upper property, so I went up there and I tried to clean up a bit. Which seems absurd because there's these people there, right? And I'm
Did
like,
it seem absurd at the time? What were you thinking?
I was thinking, there's no way I couldn't even look at them.
So what did you do by way of cleanup?
I think we ended up going off and like grabbing the towels that we had dumped in the laundry and the trash, and I ended up lifting. Ended up going up there a couple of times.
Hold on, you what?
We'd end up going up there a couple of times, and I would think of other things that I'd forgotten. Remember, at this point, the only thing that I'm trying really hard to just protect her, if nothing else.
And protect yourself too, right?
Not really. No, not really. So I'd lifted the couch. I'd put my hand under the
Sofa or the love seat?
both, actually.
Both.
Yeah, from the ends that were if you look at how the sofa and the love seats sit, they actually kind of sit in an L, so that when Nathan and lifted the love seat, by its far end of that L, and at the other end of the L, I'd lifted the couch to
You
see.
lifted the love seat near the television
Yes,
and the couch near the recliner?
yes. I'd
Why?
also to see if I could find the that battery from the phone.
Why?
just seemed important. I don't know. I was just looking for.
Joe, there was a bunch of cross-examination about Dr. Dutton about whether you had moved the bodies or not. So let me just ask you: did you moved the bodies of Wayne and Judy, right?
I did move the bodies of Wayne and Judy. Yeah.
Did you move the body of Olivia at all?
I did accidentally move the bodies of Eric and Olivia.
Olivia, how did you do that?
By picking up the. At least I think I moved Olivia as well, because I picked up the end of the couch, and I guess
Couch
they
or the love
the love seat, sorry, and I guess they slumped over when I did that. I didn't.
Do you know that they slumped over?
No, that's just inference.
I'm asking you what you observed and what you remember. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, the ballistic evidence and all the forensic evidence show that Olivia died in the position that she was in, right?
Yeah, but she wasn't. She wasn't down like that when she was actually up a little bit behind her mom.
When you shot her? Okay. So you say you thought you moved the bodies of Erica and Olivia. Do you know that you did? Do you know that Erica slumped down when you moved that couch, or are you just not sure?
I'm basing that entirely on inference.
You're basing that on inference.
Yes.
Did you physically touch
I-
and move any of the bodies?
I did actually take Nathan's arm, and I grabbed it by the sleeve, and I lifted it up to see if there was anything under there, and I put it back down exactly where it was afterward. So,
Well, what were you looking for?
the phone battery.
You told Detective Pavlovich that Nathan tried to give
Yeah.
you the phone batteries.
Yeah,
Tried to give
yeah.
you the phone batteries.
Yeah,
before he killed
I
you,
had
right?
forgotten about that. Yeah, he had actually held up the phone battery and showed it to me, and I don't even remember what I did with that. But
Did you take it from him?
I
And then you shot him. Right?
not directly afterwards, but yes,
Very shortly afterwards.
very shortly afterwards. Yeah.
Joe, you also told Detective Pavlovich
That
Joe,
he had
Nathan had this look in his eye as though he understood. Well, what in the world did that mean?
You know, I had this weird idea that being, I don't know, he always seemed like a kind of preternaturally sort of preternaturally, sort of a old soul, if you will, you know, and oh no, like he understood and accepted what was going on.
Like,
Okay.
oh, this is totally fine with me?
No, it wasn't fine with me. Why would it be fine with him? No, it was. No, I thought that it was just, if anything, acceptance of. It's like, oh, crap, this part. No, oh no, this part. More of, oh, right, this part.
Joe, what was going through your head at the time? Because you told Detective Pavlovich, and you gave me this look as though he understood.
Yeah.
Is that something you were thinking at the time, or did you come up with that as you were driving around?
That's what I was thinking at the time. That's what I was trying to describe. That's what I was trying to describe just now. That's what I was thinking at the time.
Did you talk to Michelle about that as you guys were in the car?
Yeah, actually.
Tell me about that
Because
conversation.
that struck me as so strange, you know? So he seemed to have this look of understanding of something. I'm like, does that make any sense to you? I mean,
Does that mean what?
does that make any sense to you? And I don't mean as far as like you here, I mean, I was telling home. So, what about that? Does that make any sense to you? You know, as a whole.
After you shot these people, Joe, did Michelle say anything to you by way of, hey, thanks for doing what I wanted you to do, or anything like that?
Yeah, she had actually said, she said that this is the first time that she had actually believed that I loved her. I'm like,
That she had what?
that she actually believed that I loved her. I'm like, really? Are you serious? You know? And that she felt bad about Wayne and Judy, but she was glad that Scott and Erica, that she'd been able to go off and kill Scott and Erica.
She'd been able to.
That she was glad that she had been able to kill Scott and Erica. Well, that they were dead anyway. And we just didn't discuss the Nathan and Olivia. It was just too awful.
Did you discuss Nathan and Olivia in advance and Erica? I mean, that what you told Detective Pavlovich is we killed these people because we thought they would turn us in. We didn't want them to turn us in, right? Remember you said that? I need a yes or a no.
I do remember that, yes.
In the time leading up to this, Michelle had been planning this, you testified, since you guys had been, I guess, talking about it, right?
Yeah.
For a while, at least since the previous Easter, if not the previous Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, just
She'd been talking about it and trying to dissuade her from, but yeah.
Joe, were you at the previous Christmas with the Andersons? Did you go up with her?
No.
2006?
No.
How about Easter?
No.
So what was it about those things that really made her want to do this? Do you know?
I really don't know. I think it was jealousy and a sense of entitlement and
Sense of entitlement?
yeah, and a sense of betrayal.
Did she come back from whatever holiday it was, Christmas or Easter, saying, "Oh, I made this decision"? Like, how did that conversation?
Actually, she came back and she was actually saying that she was sorry for not killing these people right then. And I'm like, I didn't want you to.
Why did you not go to those holidays with her, whichever holiday it was?
I don't think she wanted me to.
Were you still living in Fall City at the time?
I think for the Christmas before I was, and I was keeping an eye on the place. Yeah, and that Easter, I think I was actually home. She just didn't want me to come.
Home, you meaning at the 19th?
I think, yeah, at the little property.
So, Joe, in all this time, I mean, it's a year at least, if not 7 months anyways, 8 to 12 months, her conversation about, look, if we don't kill all the kids and Erica and everybody, they're going to turn us in. Was that part of the thing that you two were discussing?
No, actually, if I remember correctly, she was going on about how Erica was this, she'd always had a thing against Erica. And a lot of it was she felt that Erica had basically really kind of taken Scott away from her. And not just Erica, but Sarah too. Actually, the person she really hated was Sarah. But she wasn't able to get to her because Sarah lived in, around other people. So she felt that between Eric and Sarah they made it so that Scott just didn't help her out or be there for her.
So Joe,
Yes, sir. No, I'm going to object. That answer is not responsive to the question that was actually asked.
Wasn't it? I'm sorry, I thought it was.
respond to the objection, Your Honor?
Yes.
I think that Mr. McEnroe perhaps was trying to respond. It just didn't come out.
Yeah.
The objection is for
I'm-
sure to disregard the answer.
Okay.
Okay, so
Sorry.
let me ask you a question, Joe.
Okay.
Ask you a question, Joe.
Okay.
In that whole time, in these months before, I think this was the pending question, in the months before you killed the Andersons, are you telling me there was never any discussion of, hey, there can't be any witnesses to this? That never came up in the whole time?
No, what I was going to say is that it wasn't so much about with Nathan and Olivia. I don't think it was. It wasn't so much about having witnesses. It was more of. I think it was more of what this would do, having to be there, what this would do to them. To go through this. I don't know if there was discussion about witnesses or not. I
Well,
don't
think.
remember.
I'll come back to that. Let me ask you this, Joe. Without question, that's what you said to Detective Pavlovich, right?
Mhm.
Why did you do this? Because we didn't want them to turn us in. Were you lying to Detective Pavlovich? Where did that come from?
No, that was the simplest answer to. I didn't really think that any more answer than that was needed. I thought that was the simplest answer. That was enough.
So were you trying to mislead Detective Pavlovich?
No.
Well, then why didn't you tell him the truth?
It's the truth that that she was concerned that they were getting corrupted and turning into like dark entities.
Dark
Then
entities?
Then I'd have to explain what that means and all that that comes with it, and sound like I'm out of my mind.
But if that was the truth, why not just tell it to him?
Because that doesn't matter.
What doesn't matter?
That I was concerned they were dark. Because she was concerned about their corruption and stuff. We were concerned about their corruption. That they would turn into bad people. That they would grow up and hurt people.
That they were what?
That they would grow up and hurt people after going through something like that.
That they would grow up and hurt people?
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish talking about you guys driving around. So you come back to the property, you go up to Wayne and Judy's house a couple times. You did some cleanup. Did you pick up shell casings or do anything like that?
Yeah, picked up shell casings and other stuff.
And then there was testimony that you guys had a burn pit. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that all true?
May I make just a quick note? The other part of it is just that there was, when I was speaking with Detective Pavlovich, is that there was just this shock, okay? And I'm trying to go off and give him answers that make sense, because I was having a hard time making sense of this myself at that point.
Okay, we're going to talk more about what you said to Detective Pavlovich. I want to
Okay.
finish moving through.
I understand.
Okay?
You know.
So you have a burn pit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you destroyed evidence, right?
Yep.
Any question that you were doing that?
No.
No question?
No.
And then what was the next part of the, what happened next? How did you guys wind up on the road down by Kelso?
So I'm sitting here trying to come up with what can...
Trying to come up with what?
Things. I'm missing so many things, by the way. I'm sitting here trying to think of, okay, what can I do? What can I do to protect us? And we could go and get married. So she always wanted to go down to Vegas to get married. So I figured that then that would be the time, I guess.
You figured that what?
That would make a good, I don't know,
Alibi?
alibi, cover story, alternate, which should have happened.
Let's just go through that list again slowly, Joe. A good alibi, or what was the next
Alibi, alternate, what should have happened.
thing? Did you say cover story also?
Cover story, yeah. Thank you, I forgot about that.
So, did you destroy any more evidence or attempt to on your way out of town?
We had some stuff in a bag. One of the so because some of the stuff that we were trying to go on had actually been like sitting in the laundry, it was actually still wet towels. Also, for whatever reason, we had a bunch of cat litter.
Cat litter?
Yeah, we had a bunch of used cat litter as well. So driving around with a box full of used cat litter and wet towels.
So
We're driving around with a box full of used cat litter and wet towels.
You were driving around with a box of...
Used cat litter and wet towels.
Why keep the cat litter?
I'm not really sure. I can't say that we were thinking quite clearly at that point.
Okay, so you took this stuff and did you try to...
We were looking for someplace to get rid of it.
Okay, was there any other weapons or guns or parts of
No.
guns or anything else?
No. Oh, there was a grip that I'd actually gotten for the Model 29, which was a 357.
So,
But it was the wrong frame.
okay, there was testimony about that, I think, from one of your back and forth notebooks with
Yeah.
Michelle about you having ordered the grips?
Yeah, we never did get the right one.
You never got the right grips. So you took the grips and the cat litter and towels, and what did you do with them?
We threw them away somewhere in Kent, I think.
Did you...
It was another one of those ones where we went to several different places looking for a good place to get rid of them. It's just a good place to get rid of them. It's just, I'm not exactly sure.
Where did you go?
Um,
Did you try to discard of them at all in Carnation?
yeah, I think we tried to discard them in Carnation, and
Where? How?
I threw them into this big dumpster, and then I realized that it was a recycling dumpster, so I had to go back in there and pull it out, and then we just kept going. And,
So wait a second. You had to get into the dumpster to pull these things out?
Yeah,
When was this, day or night?
night.
Was it Christmas Day
I
in the
think
evening?
it was very early Christmas Day, actually.
Very early in the morning, Christmas Day?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
And you, which dumpster is this in Carnation?
It was one downtown.
Okay.
I really don't know. I didn't hang out in Carnation very much.
Okay, so you threw the stuff into the dumpster, you got the stuff out of the dumpster.
Mhm.
What did you do next? Where did you go next?
We went.
You said Kent?
Eventually, I think we ended up in Kent.
Do you remember
Yeah,
any
eventually we ended up in Kent. I remember that there was a couple of other places that we tried to dump it in, and she wasn't satisfied with it, so I had to get it back out, and we kept going.
And where in Kent did you dispose of it?
I think at one of the apartment complexes we used to live in, actually.
Either at Meridian Park or at Kent Terrace?
Ridge. But yes.
Sorry, Meridian Ridge.
Mhm.
Okay, and then what did you do after that?
I think after that we just started heading south.
Started heading south?
Yeah. I remember at some point it was snowing, and it was a really serious blizzard. We had, at this point, by the way, we had the cat in the back, and we had a bunch of other stuff in the back. What passed for our luggage was, we put our stuff into some Tupperware things and covered it with a tarp in the back. I remember getting out at some point in the snow to secure the tarp, and off the
Voice
side
up.
of the road.
Keep your voice up.
Okay, to secure the top off the side of the road. I remember it being very cold because I put all my coats and whatever. I brought a coat along, but I put it in the luggage, which was now under the top, which was totally unreachable because the other coat that I was wearing I thrown into the river.
Because what?
The other coat that I was wearing I thrown into the river. So
Okay, so
yeah.
what happened? Tell us.
So then later on at some point we had this blizzard going on, and I only remember snatches of it because she was following the lights of the truck before us, and it was a really strong snowstorm. Sometime later we're driving along, it was no longer snowing, and the wheel had blown out. And I'm just like, look, this is too much. As we're saying, we should just go back and, and just deal with this, So after it got fixed, we just turned around and went back.
Hold on. At what point did you discard of the ammunition that you still had?
Sometime along that route.
You told Detective Pavlovich that it was thrown on the side of the road. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, but
Yeah, I taken it out of the boxes and I thrown it on the side of the road.
okay, you don't know where?
I don't really remember where. I thought I put it over where I told Detective Pavlovich, but I'm not sure. I wasn't sure then, I'm not sure now.
You what?
I thought I
Hold on one second. Let me get a talk about.
okay.
I did what I told Detective Pavlovich, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I wasn't sure then, and I'm not sure now.
Okay?
So, I wasn't trying to lead him on a wild goose chase.
At first you were.
Well, at first I was, yes. But when I was telling him about where that ammunition was, I was not trying to lead him on a wild goose chase. If I had known that he'd be looking for it, I probably would have told him. I probably would have really stressed more that I wasn't sure that he was there. So I really didn't know. Well, I really don't know where I put it.
Okay. Let's talk about, so you had said, let's just go back and deal with this. What was Michelle's response to that?
I don't recall, just that we did.
You did do that?
Yeah. So we were going back, and I forgot to mention at that point we were also really, at some point along this, we'd also went and made our truck payment, and I think it was such a weird thing to do at that point, but
I'm sorry,
Hold on, you got to say that again.
it seems like such a weird thing to do at that point, but
Where did she make her truck payment?
at a Bank of America. So
Okay.
that's who she had her truck payment through.
I think there maybe was a receipt.
Hold on, Bank of America, and then I didn't hear.
That's who her truck thing was through. So,
That's who her truck loan was through, was
Yeah.
Bank of America.
Loan.
I think there was some evidence of a receipt
Yeah.
from the Bank of America in Issaquah. Does that sound right?
I guess.
So that needed to be done before you went back to the property?
No, that was while we were leaving. So we were
Well,
getting
hold
things
on.
a little bit out of order again.
Hold on. That was while you were leaving the property,
Going south, yeah.
which was on Christmas Day, right?
Yes.
You think the bank was open Christmas Day?
No.
Okay.
No, we did it through the ATM actually.
Okay.
So we another thing that she had wanted to do was to change the oil.
To do what?
She
Wanted to...
the oil was overdue to get changed. So she was this is what I mean by there wasn't really any planning, just trust me, I know what I'm doing, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Trying to go off and get me to go along with her on this thing. And I mean she was sitting here stressing about driving around with the oil not changed, and she knew the oil needed to be changed. She didn't even bother changing the oil before all this.
Okay. So...
I mean, it's not really a lot of planning though, is it?
So you drive back to the property. At some point, there was a car payment made. And what happened then as you approached the
driving-
property? Hold on. You got to wait for me to finish.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
As you approached the property, what happened?
As we're approaching the property, we looked up and saw a black helicopter flying over, and it's like,
Hold on. Louder, please.
as we approached the property, we looked up and saw a black helicopter flying over, and I realized that they had been found, and it's like, okay.
Speak up.
And I realized that they had been found, and it's like, so we keep going? Yeah. And if it works, then it works, and if not, then not.
At some point, as you were driving back, am I correct that there must have been some kind of discussion about what are we going to tell him, right? Because you guys both had this
That
story.
was... No, that's what I was trying to tell you is before we even left.
I didn't hear you know what.
Before we did it, that was before we had even left. I had come up with this, and I was hoping that if we, now this is going to sound really stupid, but I was really hoping that if we really focused on that, and that maybe that would go off and not replace what actually happened. Did
You came up with this before you left on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve?
on Christmas Day actually. That
And
was,
you were hoping that if you focused on it enough, that might be what really happened?
yeah, except it didn't work obviously.
Right.
It was a desperate help.
Okay.
I really didn't want them dead. But
Okay, so you approach the property, you see a helicopter.
and
You say it was a black helicopter? Okay.
yeah.
And as you
And-
pulled up, what happened?
And it's just, then let's do this then. I guess I don't remember what I said. Something along the lines of,
What was
They-
that?
I don't remember exactly what I said, it was something along the lines of, well, let's try this, and if not, then not.
And she was okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Did you have some inkling that maybe they would realize that your story was totally false?
yes.
Was there a discussion about that?
No.
Was there a discussion about what might the penalty be for this?
We had discussed at some point that, actually before I had come up with all this, she had actually wanted to go and actually before in fact anybody had died at all, she was thinking that, okay, well, she was just sure that this was something that she had to do and that this was something that was right for her to do, and so everything just kind of fall into place. So I guess she wasn't really worried about what would happen, and if she was wrong, well, she was just going to go off and basically commit suicide by cop, as it will.
That it would be suicide by cop?
As it will, yeah.
As a war?
As it will, yeah. And after everybody had died, it's just like that. No, no, we're not doing that again. And so we got rid of the guns, and we were driving. So after that, there was a discussion of, okay, well, if this doesn't work, then we go to jail, and they, probably execute us. It's like, oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
And they'd probably execute us, and it would be better than this. And it's like,
You had that discussion, you had some
awareness that,
Somewhat.
some awareness that, something this awful would probably lead to something like that, yeah, and that would be okay. I can't even say because she was jealous, because she felt entitled, because I felt I had to protect her. Could that be any more meaningless?
Okay, Joe, I have some more questions for you, but Your Honor, I would request that we take the morning break at this time.